buddy got accepted in the FBI, asked me to watch his dog. Doesn't tell me the thing's fucking nuts. Literally jumps right through the fucking door. Took the door, busted a bunch of shit, right gone, fucking gone. Ran like a bull. Got flyers on people looking, but I had to take a break. The car flew off. He was a foster dog. He hasn't had it that long, but he sure won me. Nuts. Probably like 30 or 40, no, probably 20 or 30. That's from powerful slaves are both parts of slaves, but the slavery defies easy classification. The bottom line was one of the things when we start why did we have an interesting question? So how did this become a thing where all of a sudden a bunch of colors in the world were hooking black Africans up to the proto-early capitalist globalized supply chain and logistically figuring out ways to start a pipeline of human beings from the African continent over to the Americas. Now, there's obviously no easy answer to this, and there's an answer at all. It's not a two plus two equals four kind of question, certainly. So I started writing it down. I was scouring the history books, a bunch of the different ideas that were thrown out. There was pictures and factors to this whole thing. And as my list got longer and longer, I started to realize that this really is I'm gonna grab some more, but I don't want to stress them out too much. Get the point.
Describe this ever-living list of
factors,
discoveries, events, as something that tries to explain what reality is like in the so-called old world in the 15th and 16th century. The zeitgeist was like non-existent life. In other words, the problem is that slavery is so interconnected in that world. You can't tease it out like a strand in a rope. It touches everything, it influences everything. It's such a basic part of the makeup of things that it's impossible to talk about the influential factors in the slave trade without just talking about the influential factors in life.
It's so fucking little.
The one thing that has always struck me about this era is because some of it, especially the things of what like, well, there's an alternative to it. It's not the kind of economic system we have now, but we're clearly and evolved more than the descendants from this system. It's about to develop in the 1400s because it's the first truly globalized system. It's the first time that the so-called world are aware of each other. The first time that people in the economy, the first time that have a global economy, right? And yet the idea that you could take a kind of a proto-capitalism and inject human bondage as one of the commodities that works the same way with sugar or tobacco or oil today. It's bizarre. It's basically like slavery should all
fucking scared to accidentally dumping one during a water change. Feeling lucky I haven't yet. Some of them are a lot bigger. Some of them are fucking tiny. I'm feeding the holy shit out of them. 20 times a day. Stay up underwater. Once it got hot, the other goldfish started dropping like fucking 3, 4 every day. Not this kind, just a regular fucking feeder. The feeders don't do well in the heat. Fancy goldfish do good in the heat. Feeders, those comets, do not. These guys could take up to like 80 plus. Regular goldfish, like from the fair or feeders, it'll kill them, especially if they have anything wrong with them at all. I'd like these guys to dump some poop here.
Slavery timeline that look like there's progress happening here and there. People are looking at slavery, doing rules that further constrict slavery. And I'm not saying they're not progress. For example, there was one poet that said the Christians could be slaves, Christians could be slaves, but here on earth you can't have Christians.
Still kind of red. That's concerning.
This progress in the right direction, but this to me sounds more like really unwrong. The idea is that just the people like us being enslaved.
Not happy in here at all.
Progress.
Just want to finish pooping.
What is the things that often
Red spots and
look making progress, but look more like you're promoting the lowest people in your society. A level or two up of the slavery gradient scale, right? Maybe something from the chattel slave to a sort of protest, a peasant to an indentured servant, you know, and I'm not saying it's not progress. But the historical pessimist would come back with, yes.
Kind of look for like parasites. A lot of times you can see it in the poop.
Sort of slaves, and how this is going to determine the machine. And perhaps you compare the entire slave trade.
And the colors and shit. White is red.
Those are old trade networks.
Guy's got a double going.
Seems like a tremendous slave
triple.
highway.
A triple. He got 3 hoops coming out of it. Really got it right. You can see the shake it.
And it's selling them, transported across the Black Sea, about Constantinople, here in the Mediterranean. With the trade network of people.
Just like us, when they get excited, they start to poop, having the poop. None of them were pooping when I grabbed them.
And I think just be told in the pages of the Wall Street Journal.
So sad in there. Hurry up and poop.
Illegal commodity to trade and help people for what it is like sugar or tobacco or oil. And the mind as well. Oil doesn't feel pain, right? Oil doesn't suck. And yet, supply and demand doesn't do the job explaining some of this stuff as any other thing. We've talked about it before. I'm not a historian. It's difficult to try to take the various strands of this brain triage technical level of influence. This is this was more important. I can't do that, but I can bring in some of the strands around this time period. Provide the context, right? So let's go back to the start of Columbus' birth period. Because that's an interesting time. There's a lot of things that are happening during this time. I'll start with the fact that there is the beginnings, as we all know, of something in history books called the Renaissance, something that took birth, and it was always associated with new ideas, or a better way to put it, old things that were discovered. The rediscovery of fossils was the history book used to relate. Now, modern history do a better job, as I think I alluded to, pointing out that the people in Europe, for example, got their hands on some of this ancient Greek and Roman stuff a couple of centuries earlier than the scientific side Renaissance, they start getting, and they become popular. Like these works never died out in small little enclaves of knowledge, including, in Arabic language that gets retransmitted over. But it wasn't wide general dissemination. During the Renaissance, all of these ancient pre-Christian culture, philosophical and artistic works sort of blown into the consciousness of little people in Europe in January. To find a historical analogy now is to tread into science fiction territory. Because this is 1,000 years or more before the people of the Renaissance. In fact, you're finding a book 1,500 years old, and it's got all this stuff we didn't know yet, or calculations we didn't think about, or philosophical ideas that we never been exposed to. And then this stuff reaches the internet hive mind and changes everything. That's kind of the crazy stuff behind the Renaissance rediscovery of possible civilization. What's funny is part of the reason that this is new to the people of Europe this time period is because they've been living with centuries of, one sort of mental construct that they were working with, which is sort of in a lot of these their mental construct ideas, right? They live in a very Christian world. One person, Professor Mike, and all of a sudden it's an injection, pre-Christian, creed or half and half into the mix, and you can imagine. What that means is time period outcome is in part by all of these ideas that a bunch of people who had a very, 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 very Christian movement. One of them was influenced. Remember, this was the kind of mental thing that it deviated from it too much. You would fall for some dire straits. You could find yourself from this period where having a world too far off the beaten path, right? So to all of a sudden bringing these people who were immune from punishment, you can't burn Aristotle in the state. But all of a sudden people might read it. Aristotle, by the way, is not a bad person to kick it off against, because one of the things that the discovery of classical civilization did was expose the Renaissance Europeans to this idea that slavery is just fine. Right? I mean, if you're trying to get from slavery, but all of a sudden, we're just going to describe the Renaissance lovingly. The classical Greece world was an infatuation, right? You're looking at this great civilization, so great that you can actually read stuff 1,000 years ago that they forgave it. There's stuff interesting, different, distinct. We have thought of that, right? What accounts for such a great society? There's this little bit of what are the secret sauce of classical civilization? This time period couldn't help but notice that these societies, whether you're talking ancient Egypt, these are slave states. And these slaves to administer some of the ancient Greek justifications for slavery, and some of the Roman justifications for slavery. And you can't help but notice that these will become like standard justification that you hear all the way up into like the United States antebellum 1850 era or something. You're still hearing the lines that, listen, slavery is good for slaves. Well, the philosophers are but reason another, there's no reason at all. I think you're better off listening to your master's decisions on life instead of thinking happier person. Make your own decisions. The other argument comes from ancient Greek philosophers, this idea that some people are just born slaves, right? There's nothing like freedom from God to be happy. Some are born free, some people born barbarians, slaves. There's another civilization which is absolutely acknowledged by the slaves, and that's that slavery is good for everybody because it allowed society's cream of the crop, I'm not sure what the right word is to take more of it, but society's best and brightest, right, most enlightened thinkers and skins and politics, whatever it might be. It allows those people the time to concentrate on what only they can do. Frees them, because they were slaves to all the drudgery work, right, to make the money on the farm, whatever it might be. Frees them to push society forward. Only by being a man of leisure could these people play their role in society, just like the slave plays their role in society, in almost cosmic organization and all nature. It all fits together. The point being is the time period where the historical objects and societies that along with this new modern world that we have modern view of human relations. Things like slavery, and then all of a sudden you get this intellectual competition, right? The school of philosophy that kind of, by way of example, argues for just the opposite, right? Well, it didn't hurt Greece or Rome to have all those slaves. We also begin to run into a terrible, I think this is the Wall Street Journal page too, a terrible supply and demand situation that various developments in this day and age seem to offer a resolution for. So let's go back to Columbus's birth, right? So 1488, by this time, there have been advances in European ocean exploration. This is, of course, one of the more interesting things we're all agrees folks, to go from a situation where, for the most part, with coastlines, with naval vessels, to going into the open ocean, right? Venturing from the Atlantic, the Pacific, what have you. Now, there, and this is part of the charm that blows you away about the Polynesians, canoes, Vikings, and longships. They've made famous and done this stuff, but there's a difference between some of that and sort of regular ongoing commerce that will be initiated by bands venturing into the open oceans with big ships. Go read the accounts when this first starts. So go to what's now Portugal, Castile, all these places in the most western part of Europe. And their early accounts venturing forward with the ships. If you look at that, it looks like they're going almost nowhere. You want to say to yourself, the coast of Portugal, that little island, like there's only a half inch of that, something like that. But back in those days, there was a very good chance if you went off into the open ocean, even a short distance away, you weren't going to call. And it was the coming home with regularity part that changed everything. If the ship was on a different nation, there was a bunch of really intrepid individuals who would go a little bit farther than that, and a little bit farther than that. You'll see a timeline of Portuguese investigation off of their coast to the islands nearby, and the coast of Africa. And every year you can see they're like going a little bit farther down the west coast of Africa, and eventually they're around the tip, going to the other side, eventually across the Indian Ocean. Just does a whole lot of things, obviously, right? The first thing it does, though, is open up a direct channel to Central and Southern Africa, so-called Black Africa, right? Sub-Saharan Africa. Europeans in Sub-Saharan Africa have always been connected, which is white, right? So Africans from Sub-Saharan Africa cross their continent up to the Mediterranean Sea, transported to slave markets in India, for example. I mean, that all happens, but it's very different than having a direct European correspondence with African into some Sahara Desert, right? And the Sahara Desert is one of the big reasons that's not happened before. What, 75, 8 days to travel across the Sahara Desert, this time period, it's a total dead zone. Armies came through, there were some slave caravans and some trading caravans, but by and large, this is an enormous area. And then above that, if you look at the map, north of the Sahara Desert, Europeans don't have the compound of so-called Black Africa. You have another problem. That's powerful North African states. Right? You have a very big thing. So first you have a powerful North African state blocking from Central Africa, and then south of them you have the giant Sahara Desert. You can see why the Sub-Saharan African Europeans required military action in this time period. But what's so monumentally different about this era is eventually the Portuguese making their way down the African coast get to the level that's south of where the Sahara Desert is. In other words, their ships make direct contact with Sub-Saharan African kingdoms. And one of the first things that they do is grab some of the people that they see on the coastline, throw them in chains, and take them back to Portugal. So, regardless of the great things to come, this is what's happening when they're around. This is birth. And then in 1453, something famously happens. Once again, there's something where trade happens, the prices of investments in all these commodities, 1/3 of the slaves that were coming from that area to the major slave markets in the Mediterranean to their own areas, the involving areas in the Middle East and places like that. But you always have a lot of slaves anyway. Go back to this now. Our supply and demand situation. A supply squeeze, right? What would any good business person do if all of a sudden your access to raw materials reduced? Now that's a good way to look at it. Slavery, even though it's like the currency, people are making money. You can get money for everything. So in straight up currency trade, there's the value that way. But they're also, if you consider the time component of everyone else's business, it's the same way with energy prices went up. If everything's up and down, everybody's up and down. Like the price of meat in the grocery store. Well, that's how the slave business too, because everybody needed slaves. They were relatively constant demand. And sometimes, like it might policies end up making that situation worse. For example, if you say something like, well, Christians should be slaves, you just cut the market that's available. We can have raw materials. So this is a time period where there's a heavy duty demand. Supply gets curtailed, and anybody in their right mind can produce source of raw material. And it's right around the same time period Europe needs to make direct contact with sub-Saharan Africa, which is always a big source of slaves. Not to the European, to the Islamic slaves. There was a big slave rebellion. It lasted more than a decade, killed a ton of people in what's now modern day Iraq, led by the black African slaves. 1889. But it shows you how long these trading patterns have been working. If you're an African woman, if you're a opponent of war, you take your captives and you sell them. Make them your own slave. I mean, this is not the universal thing. It just happens a lot. That's a good it just happens a lot. People can fall into slavery, crimes punished by their own people. The bottom line is that it was certainly wrong. We say that now, we really mean fortunately. The English are not getting rich, for example, but the Portuguese start to realize that rather than steal your own man steal is a pretty term we use man steal. Rather than steal your own people, you would just tap into the already existing trade network and deal with movers in these areas. And if they're just catching in for some of the slaves, they're already capturing and selling to other people anyway. A lot of people are going to make a lot of money from this time period. Another thing that's worth dealing with all of those strands to try and unpack it is a key reason why even people who had nothing to do with slavery are sensitive were impossible to disentangle from slavery because money touched everything. Connected everything. It never was in one time important. But in different time periods, things like currency, trade are more important than others. In Europe, after Rome fell, there was you see again in business graphs, helpful with those, things were coming down period. Some places were turning on barter systems, trade was curtailed. It was in the Middle Ages again, a part was percolating, a deep renaissance, exploding in the streets, merchant classes developed. It became so powerful that they made enough money to get more money through. You start seeing banking houses that were eventually very powerful rise. You start to see trade currency places like the Baltic and Hanseatic and all that, and the rise of the Italian city-states, even during the Crusades, financing these things, right? So you begin to see modern systems of investment, right? And shareholders and all sorts of things that look again directly deep. You can see it affect everything like exploration and warfare. So this is a time period of history where a lot of places will just hire their defense forces. And you people just, like they'll hire a general, like a condottiere, it's a word that is connected to contractors, hires, right? And they often come with their own armies. For the sign the contractors, the 2 years before the army of this town state.
lovable sense. Get native hair care.
And this approach to dealing with things actually is involved in the Columbus exploration. This looks like a giant, well-invested, well-capitalized financial expedition. It's entrepreneurial colonialism in a sense. Columbus, if you follow his career, he would give presentations to potential investors. It's like right out of a Renaissance version of Shark Tank. It goes to these people and says, I have a proposal, I'm going to go in the other direction and reach Asia. We can open up our own direct trade channel. Like, this is a trade, this is a money-making thing. And it's like Tier 1 imports in a 1492 style version of it. He gets put off, and the investors don't think he's got his calculations right. But at one point, the rulers of Castile, who will eventually become the Spanish monarchy, they decide to like his idea enough that they don't want to take it elsewhere. They give him some money to sit tight on it. It's almost like a Renaissance version of non-disclosure or non-compete. But when Columbus eventually undertakes his expedition, he's acting as an agent of the monarchy of Castile, or the Spanish monarchy. But he's not the Spanish native. He's also getting a percentage deal. Well, percentage deal it's out of place when you're talking about establishing trade routes or already established trade streams in Asia. Since that was the plan. It looks very different to me when you stumble upon lands that are not what you thought, and have people on it who cannot militarily resist you. And then if you're Columbus and you're getting a percent of whatever you find or put together or whatever this expedition turns out.
Get some food. I gotta go to the pet store and get them some food. I'll be back though. Hello. Hello.